check. Is it doing it now? Can you hear it?
So we're talking Frankenstein.
We're talking Shelley.
I'm Chris Hardwick. Welcome to Talking Frankenstein.
Talking Frank. About Frankenstein.
One-off special.
Anders, you had something to say?
Oh, I was just going to do a little joke about if you were making a Frankenstein.
Okay.
And it'd be kind of goofy to do eyeballs as testicles. If the folks
goofy.
remember, you reconstruct a human out of body parts.
And you maybe see out of them.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities there. A lot of comedic possibilities that Shelley did not really dive into.
Yeah, you put your hand into that bowl and you don't know what it is, and they're like, "What is it? What is it?" And you're like, "It's Frankenstein testicles."
Yeah.
No! And then you see them in their eyeballs, and they're like,
right.
those are Frankenstein testicles.
We made it weird. We made a weird Frankenstein. I could have just said eyeballs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm new. I'm here. I'm trying to make friends.
You have 2 Frankenstein testicles in your skull right now.
Yeah, that's what originally those were. You know,
Yeah.
Evolutionarily, we were designed to see out of our scroti.
Do you think that when he made Frankenstein, he went and sought out a dick, like a perfect dick, for the monster to have?
Was the monster?
Because he was just patchworking together a bunch of dead bodies.
Are you thinking of the monster
probably.
fuck, like the Earwolf original monster fuck?
No, I'm trying to remember if that. Well, the
Shout out to
monster it
Earwolf.
falls in love, so I feel like
Yeah, they make him
probably.
a woman. Like, I mean, I'm patronizing it right now. Like, I'm making it all male, but also that's in the book. They're like, we made you a woman.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
They didn't make him into a woman. They made him a wife with
another-
Marge
yeah.
Simpson hair and
They
shit.
probably gave her a really nice.
Yeah, it's not like she had any options. It's like, or if you don't like him, you could date the doctor.
They probably used a different body part for the penis, like a leg or something.
Yeah. Well, under modern medicine, you'd have that kind of the same thing happen. So.
Well, they had to bolt his head on with those bolts. So
it's fucking true.
good God knows what's happening, in his junk.
Shattering the
Yeah.
illusion that this is a normal person.
Well, anyway, you know what that reminds me of? The 15th anniversary of the Iraq War.
Oh, yeah.
Which was also a monstrosity.
Spooky
of
episode.
sorts. Yeah,
Yeah.
spooky episode taking place not in the haunted apartment we used to record in.
Which is above this apartment.
Yeah.
This is a different haunted apartment.
We're
that
on top
Jake
of a
lives
pentagram
in every
right
day.
now. Yeah.
Do we need to introduce ourselves or whatever?
Oh, right. Yeah. I guess we should. I am Jake Flores. I've got with me
Alex Patak, Frankenstein fan.
Anders Lee here.
Anders Lee here.
Anders Lee
it.
here.
Yeah.
Here in the studio. Good to be back.
Yeah, good. Welcome back.
Boom.
Good to be back. I am back though. I just got back from Minneapolis. I did
How
some
was it?
shows with Raga.
Globetrotter.
They're really good. I feel like I'm turning into a cow. Like I ate so much dairy. I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
slowly morphing into a little baby cow.
Uh-huh.
I can see it. You look full of milk.
A little drunk baby cartoon cow. I had a hamburger with cheese curds on it. I got
Where'd you get that?
not a good place. I was staying off of Lindale, which is apparently
Okay.
just gentrified to shit. It used to be cool.
Uptown.
Yeah, and
That's where Crust Punks lived in 2004. I remember.
Now it's
Yeah.
all-
And now it's.
that's all
Kurds
bars that opened up
burgers.
Yeah.
3 years ago or some shit. Still good food, but it just lacked character, I think.
Yeah, you want someone who's been shot recently in a scuffle serving you your burger.
CC Club. Did you hang out at the CC Club?
That's the one place
Yeah.
that seemed pretty legit.
Is that what we're calling Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, they had skee ball.
Checks cashed. No, that's where the Replacements would hang out, and the song "Here Comes a Regular" based on the CC Club.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Man, that song is depressing as fuck. I love that shit.
We're learning all kinds of shit this episode.
Yeah, they played the Replacements nonstop, and then just hold steady in between
Yeah.
at the CC Club. They seemed like they knew what was going on.
That's one group that I liked the Hold Steady as a teenager in Minnesota, but I really don't understand why people like it who are not teenagers in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just about, we were smoking pot on Lake and Lindale. Just do extremely local references that you're not going to get,
Wow.
you know?
That's why I was never into them.
Yeah. Why would anyone be? I don't know.
I need music that caters to my New England aesthetic. The song's about JFK taking his boat down the river.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Oh, that's a good song that could exist.
Who like what?
JFK, come on down the river.
Was that like a Juice Newton song or some shit?
I don't know. It's
Dirty Water. That's a Boston song.
Boston classic song.
I love that dirty water.
Goddamn America officially endorses Dirty Water.
When I turned 30 years old, I sat down with all of the Hold Steady songs and were like, these are going to make sense now that I'm old. And, yeah, I don't really get it. I mean, it's like my type of music sonically, but I don't understand what the fuck he's talking about. And also some of it just seems like adult, like man-boy shit about some chick that didn't want to fuck him or something.
Mm-hmm. So all the songs
Lisa
are about...
McNally at Oakdale Mall.
Yeah.
Snorting heroin.
Like, what?
Okay.
I know her, but why would anyone else, if you're from not in Minnesota?
Yeah.
I'm very confused about the Hold Steady's catalog for this conversation.
Anyway, the shows were cool. Thanks to Rudy, I think was his name, for coming out.
Rudy.
I had exactly one podcast fan in one of the audiences.
Oh, nice.
That's all it
who
takes.
like yelled some Cumtown shit from the crowd, and then I was, oh, okay, it's one of you freaks.
Was it African
Do
guy?
African guy.
No, he yelled do the meat truck story, which like
Did you do it?
no, it's not really like good for a bit.
No, it's not like a.
Also, he
funny
already knew the story.
Yeah.
You know, what am I
You
gonna
want
do?
to hear the hits when you go to the live show, though. You want to hear Meat Truck and African Guy.
But that was cool though. Hang out with a podcast fan. Shows were good. I'm very exhausted. I'm very exhausted from doing nothing, being around a dog I think I'm allergic to, and just drinking copious amounts of beer. This one woman after one of the shows was drinking a beer with just 2 entire like pickle slices in it, like long ways slices. And I went and looked at her and went like, what the fuck are you drinking? And then her dude she was with was like, bartender, give me 2 schlibbity schlabbity doos with a boodle doo. Like it had some weird name.
Wow.
And he fucking slammed
That's how they talk
a
there.
pickle beer in front of me. It was like a golden something with a
Have a golden retriever with a soda dew.
yeah.
Golden shower.
Yeah. I had a golden shower. Completely hungover from it.
This drink sounds about as screwed up as the American media.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a political podcast.
So
That's their problem. They're drinking pickle beer.
Yeah, but it tastes like piss.
Right.
man, those people didn't seem to give a fuck about the news. I'm real jealous. Seems like a nice sleepy part of the country where the only thing a man gives a damn about is a nice cheese curd.
Right.
The sweat from his brow.
Yeah, you forget that like
Hold
in most
Steady.
in most of this
A nice cheese curd. It's like a Hold Steady song.
it is
Man,
like
I'm drinking pickle beers.
it is in most parts of the country. It is like like very rude to talk about politics. Like that is like an upsetting, triggering thing.
Not like here where you have to. Or
Yeah.
we're going to rough you up in the streets.
Yeah, I feel like I alienated one crowd by getting a little bit too political, but then there was another crowd that fucking loved all this weird shit I was doing because
Hey, everybody, the Viet Cong won and they deserved it. I'm Jake Forrest.
there was this show we were supposed to do in Eau Claire, me and Raghav, and it got double booked with a women's comedy benefit, and it was like designed to be against us. It was like, a bunch of middle-aged women, a bunch of female comedians, a big banner that said like women in comedy, and then like someone came out
Down with Jake.
well, then also like just politically, like someone came out and gave a sort of fucking talk, like a very dense, dry, like TED Talk-ish sort of thing.
People
like,
want to do that at comedy shows. It's fucking strange. They're like, now that we have this audience, I've been meaning to give a long speech about compromise. That's not what the show is. That's not why the people are here.
It was like, so what happened was they gave this talk, and the talk was about, the benefit was about like just entrepreneurship in women, which is a very neoliberal idea. Like,
lean in.
You can be the CEO too, like that's just the way to fix things. Is just everyone to get rich or whatever.
High heels on our throat.
But then also, so we were supposed to do a week, and we're supposed to do a show. We got double booked with this thing. The guy was nice enough to be like, "Yo, I'll pay you. You just have to kind of crash this show." So we just had to open the show with all these people hyped up for like women's entrepreneurial issues and shit.
Did
and then
you
just be
kick
like,
down the awning playing electric guitars?
honestly, basically,
Yeah.
like I was just like, there's no way to just do this without making that the bit. So I just went out like a pro wrestler and was just like, kind of like,
I bet all of you are pretty into ladies.
I just went way over the top with it.
You ever watch a man burn a bra?
Yeah. But then I just started talking about weirdo like poppers and shit like that, and they were way into it. They were cool with like, I guess if you like, we went all the way around horseshoe theory style.
Oh, yeah.
I
It's
guess
real.
it's real in comedy. I guess I don't
Well,
know.
at least they weren't like pro-life women of Wisconsin
Right.
who want to ban drunk drive. Well, not drunk driving,
The-
gay marriage or something.
Mothers
the
against gay
drunk driving-
marriage.
Yeah, mothers against MAGAM.
The Mothers Against Drunk Driving people, regardless of whether they're politically right, are still not a fun comedy crowd.
Yeah.
No.
You don't want to be playing to those.
Who's drinking tonight? You know? Yeah. So that was the week. It was pretty cool. I'm back. I'm exhausted. I'm still like stuffed up for some reason. I'm allergic to everything.
Can be pretty cool.
But here's some stuff that's going on since we last met. Roseanne is launching the reboot of Roseanne, the TV show from the 90s with the wonderful harmonica solo in the beginning and everything.
John Goodman's wife?
John Goodman's wife.
Tom Arnold's wife.
John Goodman's on the show, the husband. John Goodman is they're like poly. It's Tom Arnold's wife's boyfriend.
Oh.
Yeah. They all have an arrangement.
I endorse this show.
So she went on Jimmy Kimmel and like, you know, they tried to make, I think, like a viral, controversial sort of couch segment about it, where he was like, the idea is that because Roseanne is in real life a Trump supporter.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
she
yeah.
sucks.
She's like an
Roseanne.
accelerationist, kind of.
Yeah, but she's also just a hashtag MAGA person on Twitter.
If you're a
and
MAGA
shit.
person, you're not an accelerationist. You're just a right-wing person. That's not the same.
Yeah, Zizek
Well-
is an accelerationist.
Well,
he
but-
should have a sitcom where he's married to John Goodman.
Yeah.
I'd
That
watch
would be
the fuck
very
out of that.
funny.
But she ran for the Green Party nomination in 2012 against Jill Stein.
What if the Green Party was deporting immigrants, you're wondering? That's what Roseanne
Well, but
brings
she
to the
was.
table.
She's like. I mean, it sounds like she's confused, and she sounds like somebody who just like.
Don't you defend Roseanne on this show.
I
Roseanne
mean-
has enough power as it is. She doesn't need you coming to her aid, white knighting her. She has John Goodman for that.
There may or may not be a deal, which I cannot
This
discuss. about.
crisis of working class Americans. My husband is John Goodman. He's large. You get lost in his flannel shirt, his hanging gut like that of a working man.
But it doesn't explain why you left the peanut butter around. That's like the show.
And then harmonica just comes in.
He has to be a greeter at Walmart.
For you to know what shovels are. Will you shovel anything? Why do you not let the yard have snow?
He's so fun to do. But like, okay, so Roseanne is, yeah, she was like a Green Party weirdo. Now
Well,
she's
she's
a
someone
MAGA.
who resents. She has, like, we've all opined about how people have this emotional connection to Hillary Clinton, and there's a lot of other people like that who are, they have that, but it's like a love-hate relationship with Hillary Clinton and the Clintons. Like both of these people are idealizing these figures and getting way too wrapped up in the personality thing.
Right.
And she feels somehow some like personal betrayal from Hillary Clinton, and as a result has gone totally wacko
She's gone
just
full-
to spite this one person, which is
Full-
just as insane as being like Hillary do or die. You know?
Right. Well, okay, so the thing that she said in the clip, the big point she tried to make or whatever, that at least I think is supposed to be emblematic of the people that were completely put off by Hillary, that may have in some way, swung things in the direction of Trump, whether it be like through being, nihilistic and not voting, or going completely fucking bananas like her and becoming a Trump person because of that, which is like, I don't, think that's that many people, but whatever. Obviously, she's
Roseanne
one.
and all of her family.
Yeah. So the idea that she put forth was like Jimmy Kimmel going, hey, you're representing you're making this show. It's about yourself and this fictional character that's supposed to represent like the white working class, and how they sort of got behind this guy, and her response is like, we didn't go to this guy. We didn't go crazy. You went so far that you lost us. Like, you went so far to the left, I guess, is what she's trying to say, which is weird because Hillary Clinton is not far to the left.
No, yeah.
But a lot of people from that end of things see, like, identity politics and leftism as
It's a narrative framing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stopped talking to her because Clinton came into office that was the coveted demographic in 1992 was Roseanne.
Yeah.
Literally.
If you're viewing
she stopped being relevant.
Yeah, if you're viewing everything on a left to right pendulum, and Hillary Clinton doesn't want what you want, and you're identifying as right, she's like
a
left.
fucking socialist anarchist or something, and that's like
none of these words mean anything, and it's very frustrating in this context.
Yeah, because the show Roseanne ends with workers taking over a factory, right? Like that's.
I can't tell if you're joking. I've
No.
never seen
I
Roseanne.
swear to God, she's
I don't remember.
And like I went on a Roseanne binge once or twice, and it has some
we've all
radical, some radical undercurrents there. But people they view moving more to the left as, the Republicans were very successful in the 80s and 90s about framing it as by the left is somehow a rich thing.
It's managerial.
Limousine liberalism, managerial, yeah.
Your boss doesn't want you to say the N-word because he has a big house.
Yeah.
It's the shortened version for Roseanne. But so how did this go? Did people like it?
It's fucking weird because Jimmy Kimmel is like sort of a good talk show host, which is maybe a bad thing to be.
Yes, ands her maybe.
He just kind of laughs and takes it on the chin and is like, "Whoa, you maybe have a point there," because his job is just to help them promote this fucking show, which the show can't go well. And the reason I say that is because even with this weird fixation that everyone has on the white working class now. You see all these NPR shows that are or you hear all these NPR shows that are, sort of fixated on romanticizing this idea as this pivotal thing or whatever, and it's only one part of the whole problem. But, if you look at who's writing on the show, it's a bunch of, just comedians who are just normie, liberal idiots. So I think what this is going to turn into is...
Well, they're trying to recreate Roseanne.
And it's they're trying to recreate it by probably missing a lot of it. There's two things at odds here, I think, what's going to happen. The writers are going to tend to, be liberal comedians whose take on working class people is generally just Cletus, the slack-jawed yokel. They just sort of... I tried to watch SNL a while back, and it was just fucking 3 sketches in a row of people just going well, I'm a fucking meth-head idiot from Kansas, and I'm on board if there's a joke coming after that, but that's just the whole joke,
Oh. Yeah.
There's kind of this weird just...
There's a lot you can do with that. Maybe he meth head idiot from Kansas who's entering a sucking his own dick competition.
Yeah, that's pretty cool,
Then you're into the meat of the sketch.
Now you got a plot. How's the meth going to affect it and stuff? But,
take one class at the Magnet. They'll tell you about the dick sucking competition.
And then, you got the fucking obviously person in control of the show, who's Roseanne, who's going to, put forth her own themes, and what she thinks happened or whatever, which it just can't be good. And it shouldn't be made, and I feel like the reason it's getting made is because networks are cowards. There was this great article a while back, a week ago or two, where James Adomian talked about how there's no... This is in Split Side, I want to say.
It was last week.
Yeah. He talked about there's no gay cast members on SNL, and the thing I liked that he said was that it's not because the executives Lorne Michaels is a bigot necessarily. It's because he's afraid that his audience is a bigot. So, like, the reason we're getting a Roseanne show is not because there's some interesting intellectual take that's going to happen that's, like, going to change things. It's because the networks think they need to sell shit to
Right.
these people or whatever, you know?
Yeah, and that's what they think is going to reach the white working class, is this, like, woman who's a millionaire.
Well,
and-
she's already famous, so they're
Yeah.
like, how do we
She's already
re-engage these
alienated.
Roseanne stands?
Right. Like
Stands. I like
These freaks who love Roseanne and everything in their life is Roseanne has her face on it, and you get the Roseanne bottle opener, and you open the bottle, and it's like, get that out of here.
got her show on the air. Things are coming up Roseanne's.
Like roses.
Nice.
Yep.
Like roses.
Oh.
See, it's a clever
Yep.
little joke.
Why isn't she in the DSA?
Right.
You know, Bread and Roseanne's.
Ah,
Roseanne's.
this is good writing. That's good. I'm glad we wrote a script before we started doing this time.
Oh man. Remember when she
Roseanne's
told?
just non-binary at like an organizing space. She's like, she's
Well-
wearing overalls and has like a mohawk.
She was a fucking Green Party person
Yeah,
a few
she
years
was.
ago, so like I wouldn't be that surprised if come 2020 she's some other crazy shit, you know?
Roseanne, John Goodman's wife, she, her.
Remember when she told Ben Cronenberg to go fuck himself?
Yeah, that's the only thing she's done in my memory that I remember her for is telling Ben Kronberg his texting during a stand-up set was disrespectful to the art form.
Yeah, Roseanne famously respectful to every art form. I remember
She's
when
an
she
artist.
sang the national
Bush,
anthem.
President George H.W. Bush called her out as like unpatriotic for butchering the national anthem.
Oh man, that's fucking funny.
You got an impression of George Bush condescending to Roseanne
I
Anderson?
thought it was disgraceful.
No, that was more of a. All right.
All right, we'll cut this out. I thought you might got that one.
I thought it was disgraceful.
There we go.
I thought it was disgraceful.
That's W.
Ah, fuck.
Oh yeah,
HW is more, you know.
he was read my lips.
Read my lips.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else happened this week? SESTA passed the I keep forgetting what the fucking acronym is.
Pronounced Tiesto.
TJ
Tiesto.
Tiesto. It's got such a dumb acronym. I keep forgetting what it is, but it's like Stop Enabling Sex Trafficking in America or some shit. SESTA and the fucking other one. We already talked about it on the show, but the big dumb sort of like anti-sex worker bill that's being passed as a "we're here to save the sex workers" bills by a bunch of cops and Kamala Harris, mind you.
She's a cop.
Yeah, she's a fucking
As a
cop.
Bernie bro, I've been looking for a really solid issue to come down against Kamala on, and this one does it for me.
To
you know?
unleash your toxic
Yeah.
masculinity.
Yeah, unfortunately, no one will care. I mean, you could like point this out to people, and they'll just like compartmentalize it and
Oh, yeah.
not think about
On
it.
most people's radar, this is a fringe issue, I believe.
Yeah, or just make up. They'll just come up with some weird, argument around it to be like, well, she had to do that, because of whatever.
She had to.
Because she's a cop, and you have to do.
It was kill or
cop
be
shit.
killed.
But yeah, so that's like, being set in motion, and like fucking all these people are just gonna get away with it. Kamala Harris, Seth Meyers, and Amy Schumer just went ahead and fucking washed their hands
Just
of it. I'm
quick
sure.
recap. What does the bill? What is the problem with it?
So basically, SESTA is this bill that is being put forward by cops, conservatives, sort of religious background people that are like that are. Here's what it is. Whenever there's shit like this that's being framed as helping sex workers, what it's actually doing is trying to make sex work illegal. So I'm trying to figure this out in a nutshell or whatever. But basically, if you talk to any sex worker activist, they'll tell you this is the most dangerous fucking bill ever for them, because it's being sold to people as that there's this huge sex trafficking, human trafficking epidemic.
Right.
And the way to prevent it from happening is to shut down like Backpage and Craigslist and all these online
I'm
networks.
promoting comedy shows on there.
Yeah. And in reality, those are all the forums that like people that do sex work use to communicate with each other, like who are abusive Johns and like how to run their own operations without having to deal with like pimps and stuff like
So
that.
if you're entrepreneuring your own sex business, you can do it through these channels, whereas otherwise the like maybe dangerous parts of it already have an organization to rely on to make that work happen.
Yeah.
It's if you're a billionaire who's like getting, who took Johnny, that whole thing, like this there is like a massive human trafficking industry, but they're not going on Craigslist
No.
to find
They have
people
their
for a
own more
fucking
insidious
Epstein.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just it's an entirely separate thing from this issue. It's being sold to people as that it's like about this crazy like CSI underworld.
They play the movie Taken, and they're like, "That's fucked up,
But,
right?"
like for real, I'm not even joking. I think that's where it's coming from because there's
Taken.
always
If you've seen Taken, you leave it going like, "I want to stop."
Yeah.
what that was.
so like Amy Schumer and Seth Meyers went and watched fucking Taken. And then
by the way, that
decided-
movie, they're injecting heroin into this girl to keep prostituting her. It's like you're losing so much money on the heroin. This can't be the way you want to do this.
Yeah.
But then they're murdered, so
So anyway, this shit passed, and it's like it's kind of a fucking tragedy because all it's doing is gonna sort of like get a bunch of like women who have sort of elected to do this work, outed, fucking killed, like all their self-made sort of system of communication and self-defense is what got gutted.
okay.
Actual sex trafficking shit like that comes from third world poverty and all this other shit that is just in no way affected by this. So it was like in disguise a bill that is completely conservative that just got sold to like, fucking wine mom people that like read blogs and watch a documentary on Netflix.
Right, through branding. And people who are probably more conservative than they are willing to let on.
Yeah, totally. I won't go that into it because we already kind of talked about it in
Okay.
an episode. But
Nailed it, Jake.
it's I guess it's a little ironic given this whole Stormy Daniels thing right now because so there's this like porn star that everyone's cheering along because she's gonna take down the president or whatever.
Suing his lawyer.
Yeah. But a lot of the takes from liberals on Twitter are like they're still very anti-sex worker. Like they're like, who would have known that a fucking hooker would, be the
Some fucking cum piece shows up.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is it's not. There's nothing to be excited about the president using a porn star or like having an affair or whatever the gotcha moment of this is for him, because his brand is like, as he was campaigning, he came out and was like, I like to rape. Next issue, and people were like, what if he cheated on his wife and it doesn't matter? He's not Bill Clinton. He's never even pretended.
Yeah, I mean, like the Russia thing. No one really cares that much about the issue of intergovernmental collusion with another power in a presidential campaign. Like that specific issue isn't that offensive to people. Neither is politician cheating. It's the fact that there might be some legal technicality that could get him in trouble.
Yeah.
Which we'll see, but it's not worth all the passion that's going into it.
Although
The storm.
Nice.
this is the week where the libs have got together and started deleting Facebook, and it's crushing Facebook. I don't know why this was the straw for them, because we've known this company is just like Big Brother you live with for the rest of your life in exchange for pictures of you doing Edward 40 hands from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm really confused. I felt the same way when Snowden sort of like blew everything open. Was like, surprise, they're watching you, because I don't know what this says about me or just my background or whatever. But I just like from day one of my life was like, yeah, they're this is happening, right?
But the Snowden thing was like releasing that information to maybe if you weren't looking outside of the mainstream, now we're all talking about it. But how long ago was that? Like almost 10 years?
5 years.
5 years ago? All right, so it's been in the mainstream for 5 years. Why is it now the big security concern? I don't understand.
Well, probably because it's being tied to the Trump thing. Because like
I need to run comedy shows on Facebook.
I know, dude. It's like
and I didn't want to be there, and I learned it for you, and now you're leaving.
And you also don't have the specter of terrorism with it. Like with Snowden, people were like, Al Qaeda, so they could kind of not care that much about it. But this is fucking Trump, and they don't like him.
The fucking loop-de-loops you have to put your brain through for this to make any sense is so difficult for me.
Yeah, well, the story is that there's this like Cambridge Analytica thing that was used in some way, in the quote unquote hacking of the election that caused Trump. So now what you can do to resist or whatever is to shut down your Facebook. But it's all part of this narrative that like I don't know, that happened, that the election got hacked in any way, because like really if you water down the word hack enough to mean that like they looked at statistics and our social media and shit, well then like Hillary Clinton also was hacking. Like it's just who hacked the best, that's who wins a fucking election.
Electioneering, hacking. Well, the frustrating thing about the entire Russian hacking debacle and everyone's focus on that, and I feel like we're almost beating a dead horse because there's so many opportunities to talk about it, but the more you're playing into Russia ruined this election for us is the more you're looking away from the fact that we ruined this election for ourselves.
Dude, that's
and we
the thing.
don't want to make anything better.
Yeah, that's like my main gripe of the Russia thing is that it completely assumes that like we are not dumb enough to elect Donald Trump. Like, what do you mean?
We did.
Yeah.
It's literally happened. He's the president right now.
The problem is that it really happened.
There's no way to build a platform towards actual policies and party organization that the majority of people want when we're instead just saying, oh, we already had what we want, and it was ruined by Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. He came and punched a voting machine, and now the you're fired guy is president.
Dude, they're rebooting that shit, too. They're making like an Ivan
Rocky?
Drago, like a young
Yeah,
Drago
of
movie.
course they are.
It's so weird. Like, the two worst things from either end of the political spectrum are just like slamming together now, which is like reboot nostalgia, like are you a 90s kid culture shit with like this weird new McCarthyism and shit, or in Roseanne's case like fucking gross MAGA shit.
Two worst ends of the political spectrum, John Goodman and Roseanne.
I know.
You know what I want to see?
What's
Fucking Antifa Fran Drescher.
the
No platform for fascists. I'm lighting your car on fire.
Yeah.
You weren't even at J20.
Yeah. She's like wearing all black, and it's like, we can tell who you are because of your voice.
Yeah, there's just one mask.
It doesn't work specifically with you. Yeah, dude. Tool time, but it's just they're flat earthers and ANCAPs and shit. Frasier, but he's a tanky.
Oh, that would be
cool.
good.
That'd be pretty cool.
That's outside of his purview because he's like a never Trump Republican, right?
I don't know.
He's a conservative guy who's
yeah.
lived through many horrors in his life.
Oh, that makes sense.
Sister was murdered.
I have to say, like,
Red Lobster employee.
if you have shit politics,
Red
but you
Lobster
watch like your
employee.
family die, yeah, Red Lobster. I don't know why I had to go with this.
Yeah. I also just don't give a fuck what Frasier like.
No.
I generally don't think like celebrities'
that.
opinions fucking matter on anything.
You want to work in this business or not?
Oh yeah, fuck! I want to be Niles in the reboot.
Yeah, we're taking Niles in a different direction.
Why was your
Yeah,
dad?
he's got a deep voice and he's obsessed with Antifa.
He has like a bike that keeps getting stolen.
Did they ever explain why their dad is like a New York guy and they are these eggheads?
Dude, I watched like 3 seasons of that show and I don't understand why they're kind of British.
Yeah.
Or they're
It's because they're fancy.
yeah,
They're fancy, so they're British.
like New England foppish guys or whatever.
Oh,
But it's in Seattle.
well, because he
And
was
this
on
was-
Cheers and he moved.
Right, he moved to Seattle, and this was during grunge. So
I heard
like,
he had
why-
a kid.
And during grunge.
During grunge.
I heard in Boston, like during in the Cheers universe, he had a kid, and then when he moved to Seattle, he just left that kid in
Yo.
Boston
Nice.
to go like
Boston is full of those
be
kids.
roommates with another like.
He moves into
faux
Mark Wahlberg's
British.
posse, and they have you know that fucking show. Yeah, that show.
Entourage.
Entourage situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But where they like blind Asian people and stuff. It's a weird place. You gotta go. Come visit.
Are you from Seattle?
I'm from Boston.
Oh, Boston. Sorry.
Apology accepted.
Angry place, Boston. Well, I was there one time.
Yeah.
I based my entire opinion on it.
You got yelled
Um,
Did
This
you
is
receive a
Well,
yelling?
This is what happened to me when I was in Boston. I went to this Egyptian coffee shop, and there was this like really intense old Egyptian man that ran it. He was cool as shit. He had the scar that goes through your eye, action movie style.
Oh, that's cool.
It kicked ass, and he, we were drinking the Egyptian coffee, which is the shit that comes in that little cup.
I politely mentioned I don't like the Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of me with a sword. No, he fucking. So he serves us these little Egyptian coffee things, and somehow we got onto the subject of like this thing you can do with the coffee cups, where when you're done drinking the coffee, you turn it upside down and you slam it on the saucer, and then you look inside of it, and there's like a little ink blot of like coffee grounds in it, and that's like a common like fortune telling thing that you do socially in Egypt or whatever. And he's like, people don't really actually believe it, and it's just kind of a fun thing or whatever. And he's like, but like there's social customs like, oh, a good wife is good at telling these symbols or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then like my friend Mac, he slams his coffee cup and he reads the coffee cup, and then I did mine, and then my friend Max slams his, and he turns it over, and there's no coffee grounds on the bottom, and I go, hey, you've got no future. And then the guy looks at me like he's gonna kill me, and then he turns to Mac and he goes, your friend has a very dry sense of humor. We were like, holy shit. It was really cool. And then we went upstairs to smoke a cigarette on the street, and some guy walked by, and he was just like, fucking queer, like yelling at someone.
Oh, yeah, that does happen.
And I was like, that guy was weird, right? And I turned to the Egyptian guy, and he's just laughing. I go, what are you laughing at? And he goes, where I'm from, if you called someone that, they would not kill you. They would kill all of your brothers.
See, that's a wet sense of humor.
Yeah. It was fucking cool. And I have no idea.
Yeah, the whole
what that
town's
guy's
like
deal was.
that. It's like a great microcosm of the city.
It's all old Egyptian guys.
It's old Egyptian guys, and they get mad when they don't have a future, and then they threaten to kill all their brothers once you call them gay.
Yeah.
Didn't you get, or you were like with?
We don't want to integrate busing.
Yeah. Well,
There's a lot of
speaking of
good stuff.
buses, didn't you get punched right out of the bus when you got to Boston, or was that you were with somebody?
Did I get punched out
Yeah,
of a
it
bus?
was you or Brandon Scott Wolf was going to Boston, and
I'm
as
getting
you,
punched out of a bus right now.
right as you got out of the bus, I remember hearing this story. Just
Oh.
got punched right in the face.
He was like,
was
rate
Brandon.
that joke.
Yeah.
They punched him out of the bus.
Brandon is punched often after all of his shows. No, I would never be assaulted in my fine home city. Home of the brave.
But yeah, so I feel weird because I'm always telling people these celebrities are idiots and their opinions and politics don't matter. But Cynthia Nixon looks kind of badass.
Hell yeah.
Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City, which I've never seen an episode of.
Keep thinking she's Richard Nixon's daughter.
Yeah, she's got a bad name for politics.
She should not have that name. Well, you know what? Mussolini's granddaughter's in politics, and she's like him. So I don't understand why there's Nixon
Is she
situation
really?
has to be happening. She's like very far right and has said
Wow.
some.
Yeah, there
Very
are
thing.
still just very far right, like proto-fascist political groups in like places
Yeah.
in Europe.
Oh yeah, I mean th're coming back. They're like taking power. and shit.
Yeah, they're like Roseanne, baby, they're back.
If you get bored of American politics because it makes no sense and it will drive you insane, what you can do is you can just watch a classic communist fascist standoff in Greece where a grown man will punch a woman in the face for being on the opposite side of the aisle. Tee.
Cynthia Nixon is really interesting because like Hillary people are way into her, and I think don't understand.
That's good.
I feel like just no one tell them, because if you
take
pointed
it.
out like how backwards that is, considering how against Bernie they are.
I really think the whole way forward with libs is just to never bring up 2016 again and be like, no matter who anyone liked then, we agree we want new, different things, right?
Yeah.
Because Trump is the status quo now. Boo.
Unless
Yeah.
it's, You know, I mean, this is something I've.
It's a dangerous framing, but it's an easier platform to start from than going back to the fight that we were losing before.
Well, yeah, but it's also, I don't know, like I am a supporter of Bernard in 2020. I think he's going to do it, and I think like now he's going to be a lot better off than he was back then.
That boy.
Yeah.
Here
But
comes that boy Bernard
Yeah.
on a unicycle.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
but
am
that is
cycling with no hands.
All these bicycles in America. Why do you need two wheels? We could save so much energy with one wheel.
More efficient.
More efficient.
But yeah, that is a concern that the libs won't see the light on him. But that is hopeful that at least that the Nixons of the world.
You might as well take it on a case-by-case basis, though. Lib support for Nixon is good. That whole she doesn't have experience argument is a crock of shit. The experienced politicians are career politicians who are corrupt down to their black hearts and just want to get their homies rich and get dome in a Lambo.
Right.
Fuck them.
And the great thing is she's owning it. She's like has mugs now that she's selling.
She
that
has
say-
mugs.
They say unqualified lesbian on them.
Oh yeah,
Like,
She got
she's
called
going-
an
I have that
unqualified
same mug.
lesbian.
I've been selling that mug for years on my tours.
Yeah.
She gave this speech where she
Just a bit I was doing.
She was that's your album, Alex Patek, Unqualified Lesbian. But she tore into Cuomo in her speech and like was trolling him and saying it was talking about how good of an actor he is. And saying like he comes into New York City and pretends to be progressive and it's a great performance and he's a sleazeball.
My man's a piece of shit.
Yeah. What was that story you sent us?
Okay,
about him?
so he was at a church of the African American variety.
That's how you say it.
That's how you're supposed to
He's
say
in
it.
Harlem, right?
Uh-huh. And this is from the New York Post. The article begins with, Oy vey. Governor Andrew Cuomo on Sunday made fun of the quote-unquote rhythm of our quote-unquote Jewish brothers and sisters during a speech at a predominantly black church in Harlem. And apparently it bombed. Like no one, he says...
Maybe it's in the delivery?
It might have been, yeah. I need to get tape of that.
Well,
but
the important part of this is you think, oh, self-deprecating Jewish humor from our Jewish friend Andrew Cuomo. But
he ain't Jewish.
he's not Jewish. He's just saying mean things about Jewish people in a black church for some reason.
And he goes on to say...
He's just doing edgelord stand-up. It's like, I make fun of you because you like that, actually. I am you.
I didn't realize I was in Jewish church. Drops the mic.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, I want you to know as a matter of full disclosure, I am a Catholic. Catholics basically believe the same teachings that Baptists believe. We just do it without the rhythm. But we try. We are not as without rhythm as some of our Jewish brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Cuomo even singled out the
Yes.
offbeat swaying of Democratic consultant Hank Scheinkopf, a former campaign advisor who was Jewish, who was sitting in the front row wearing
My
a
man,
yarmulke.
no. My man in the front, no, with the hat.
He says,
I'm going to make fun of everyone.
I was watching Mr. Scheinkopf here in the front row moving to the
No.
music. It was ugly. I'll tell you the truth.
No.
No one is laughing.
Oh.
And then apparently there's a Republican Jewish pro-Israel activist who says the governor should focus more on governing and less on Jew jokes. He didn't say jokes. He said Jew jokes. That's not a good
It's time for
position to be
financial
in.
realism.
I've been told the same thing after a couple of sets, you know? It's good advice.
Yeah, but it's
Go
also
sour,
great.
Just point out the Jews.
It's great for Synth. It's great for our gal because we're starting off with the centrist being on the uncomfortable Jew territory foot, and she has the high ground on
Uncomfortable on one foot. What is he, a Jew?
but
A Jew?
the left is
Because he's got no rhythm.
Full
Yeah.
disclosure, I am Catholic.
I can make fun of
Yeah. Oh man.
But the left traditionally, that's who you go to if you're like a rabid Zionist who wants to fucking stoke anti-Palestinian flames. You point to the far left, and he already carved that out for this primary. We'll see how it goes from here. But
Yeah, I think she's gonna eat him alive. That'd be pretty fucking cool.
she might actually
television.
kick his ass.
Well, it's one of the easiest persons to at
Right.
least attempt a primary. There's no risk there really.
I
He
will
sucks.
say-
Everyone hates him.
I
you
will
know?
say this will be more uphill than we are guessing.
Yeah.
From
Because
my-
of institutional,
Institutional,
right.
and then the whole backdrop of old crusty New Yorkers going, we want a man who knows what he's doing in there. Somebody who knows office experience. I've been on the NYC subreddit writing monologue jokes for my weekly show, and that is all you see. It's like you get to live in the New York Post. I fucking hate that place.
We want a qualified lesbian. We want Cuomo in there scissoring with the governor or whatever. The other governor. What the fuck am I talking about? Scissoring was the point of that joke.
Well, there
Nice.
was a qualified woman. I don't know her sexual orientation, but if we're going based on haircuts,
Well, we can't
you
go
might say Zephyr Teachout was in a certain camp. I'm not gonna.
She visits both
speculate.
camps.
Yeah, maybe,
I have
but
no idea.
she was qualified. She ran against Cuomo, and nobody gave a shit because, her name's Zephyr Teachout.
I thought she was like a think tank.
Yeah,
Until
Yo, is
the
she a
end.
Pokemon?
she's
Teach out.
either that or Harry Potter character. I can't tell, but she ran a very issue-oriented campaign back in 2014, but she didn't have the name recognition. And now Cynthia does.
People did not recognize her name as a name.
That was the problem.
Yeah, they thought it was like the company that made the ballot or
Do
something.
I want Andrew Cuomo or Zephyr Teach Out chairs, I think? It's like-
Andrew Cuomo or Hindenburg Education.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see how she plays out, but I think that's pretty cool. I think she'll at least make some sort of splash in these, primary heavy times.
Plugs. Anders and I both want you to come to our show this Saturday at Verso Books, 7 p.m. Paid protest. It's a comedy show. It's at the bookstore. It's a new place. We're running a bar, and we need you to be there.
Yes, please come to that. Doors at 7, show at 7:30, 20 J Street, Suite 1010.
Be there!
It's going to be sweet. I will also be doing my solo show this Thursday and Friday, if you hear this before then, in Brooklyn at Vital Joints off the Montrose L. And it's about the type of people who would spend their Friday nights watching Bill Moyers. It's
I'm
about...
going on the Friday if you want to hang out.
Boom. Yeah, he's going to be there. Alex is going to be there. He'll sign
Cool.
autographs.
I will.
Dummy.
Jake?
is
I'm
the
gonna
name of
come. If you don't want to go to that Versu book show and you're in Bushwick instead,
Oh,
I don't want to do a
so
plug
mad.
that's
I'll
directly.
be so mad.
it. Options.
I'll find out and I'll be pissed off.
Yeah, never mind. I'm not doing anything on Saturday night.
You're
just-
a good friend.
It's also Carlos's show. We're split literally down the middle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Civil War.
Don't worry about it. It's on my Twitter.
Our ultimate
Um,
crossover.
I'm doing a bunch of shit. I'm also on the Hard Times show in April 6th, I believe, at Tinder Trap.
Oh, I am also on that show.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, then come to that instead of just come to all our shit.
Just come to all our shows, except Carlos's. Don't go to his.
Yeah, don't go to Carlos's
Periscope.
dumb
We can
birthday
Periscope. Get someone to Periscope his show, and you can watch it from our show. We give you permission.
Well,
In
I think
back.
the audience is sold.
Yeah.
show. All right. Goodbye. Hello, listeners. This is Jake. Hi. If you would like to hear the extended part of this episode, which is an episode in which we discuss Bill Moyers' documentary, which is on YouTube. It's called Buying the War. It's about the Iraq War and everything went wrong with the media leading up to our invasion of Iraq. It's great. it's also kind of boring, so we watched it for you. If you'd like to hear this bonus content, as always, sign up for our Patreon. If you donate $5 a month, you'll have access to everything we've ever done in terms of bonus content. You can support the show. So yeah, throw us some shekels, Marin style, and help us out if you like to hear bonus content. All of our bonus content is generally evergreen. I know a lot of our show is topical about what happened that week, but our bonus content is more stuff you can dig back into, history and stuff like that. So in memoriam, I was about to say celebration, in whatever of the 15-year anniversary of the start of the Iraq War, we decided to take a look at all the journalistic bullshit that
When I think that South Paradise was right. Boys and girls in America, they're such a sad time together. Sucking off each other at their demonstrations, making sure they make us straight. Crushing one another with colossal expectations, depending on discipline, sleeping late. She was a really cool kisser and she wasn't all that strict of a Christian. She was a damn good dancer, but she wasn't all that great of a girlfriend. He likes the warm feeling, but he's tired of all the dehydration. Most nights are crystal clear, but tonight it's like he's stuck between stations. On the radio. Devil and Sean Berryman, they took a walk together and they ended up on Washington talking to the river. He said, I surrounded myself with doctors and deep thinkers. The big heads and soft bodies make for lousy lovers. There was that night that we thought that Sean Berryman could fly, but he didn't, so he died. She said, you're putting in with words, but words won't save your life, and they didn't, so he died. And he was drunk and exhausted, but he was critically acclaimed and respected. He loved the Golden Gophers, but he hated all the drawn-out winters. He likes the warm feeling, but he's tired of all the dehydration. Most nights are kind of fuzzy, but that last night he had total retention. And his Twin City kisses, they sound like clicks and hisses. We all come down and drown in the Mississippi River. We drink and we dry up and now we crumble into dust. We get wet and we corrode and now we're covered up in rust. We drink and we dry up and now we crumble into dust. We get wet and we corrode and now we're covered up in rust. She was a really cool kisser and she wasn't all that strict of a Christian. She was a damn good dancer, but she wasn't all that great of a girlfriend. He likes the warm feeling, but he's tired of all the dehydration. Most nights are crystal clear, but tonight it's like he's stuck between stations.